Okay, so welcome. Hello and welcome. We're on our 2025 first series for the yoga shorts for runners. So this series over the next few weeks, we're going to focus around this area of the body. So the base of the rib cage, where the diaphragm sits underneath, and we're exploring how we can identify, work with the diaphragm area and how we can release it, how we can strengthen it. And a lot of that depends on just getting really familiar with that space and that movement. And quite a lot of it also depends on how we breathe. So it's going to be kind of a little bit, maybe a little bit more integration of the breath in this series than some. And we're going to have some flow. So hopefully that'll make it a little bit more, less kind of to focus. It'll feel a bit more like we're actually moving with the practice that we're doing. So without any further ado, let's get to the mat, and we're going to start. You can either be standing or kneeling, whatever suits you best. And you will need a belt or a band that can go round the base of the rib cage. This one's a little small, but I'm going to work with this. So hopefully you've got that to hand. And I'm going to cross that over. So it's quite tight if it's a band. Whoop. It's the last beauty. So I thought that might happen. So much more entertaining when things go wrong. So holding tight, let the shoulders relax and start to breathe. So one advantage of laughing is that releases the diaphragm by the by. And what can happen, particularly if the belt's reasonably tight, obviously you need to feel that's not constraining the belly too much, not good on a full stomach, but you can actually feel the breath much fuller here. So we all notice a breath in different parts of the body when we give attention to it. Sometimes you feel it more in the nostrils. Often it's around the belly. If you've been running, you'll feel it more in the upper chest, where the work tends to flow. But if we can kind of instigate some work through the diaphragm, then that's the healthiest option for breathing. It's good for the spine, it's good for the posture. So it's kind of more than a win-win. It's a kind of win-win-win-win-win-win-win if we can work with this area. And you might find if you are constraining that area a little bit, that the diaphragm has to work harder, so it's strengthening a little bit more and it's felt more in the body. That whole uplift and out with the in-breath and that drop and sort of coming inwards, holding a little bit more stability on the out breath. Okay. So I'm going to try and release this without flicking the whole of the band across the room, which this time I've managed to do. So I'm going to get rid of the band, don't need that right now. And we're going to just feel the breath without having the belt or the hands on the body. Relax the shoulders a little bit more away from the ears. Okay, so we're going to raise one arm, it doesn't matter which one. And with our spare hand, we're just going to take that around the rib cage and notice the breath now. So you might have the arm extended slightly. See what happens when you extend it maybe a little bit more. See if you can get a sense of the breath more strongly on the side that's lengthening. If you want to, you can just take it a little bit onto a side bend. And then lengthen again. And release both arms, let them swing for a moment. And that's a nice movement as well, feeling both sides of the rib cage The skin and the muscles around that, intercostal muscles all moving, that muscle's moving. Okay, so second side, take the arm up, take the opposite hand over to feel the side of the rib cage, intercostal muscles, lengthen a little bit, see how that feels, kind of still breathe when I do that. Just deepen the breath, breathe through the nose if you can, and then a little bit of a side bend. Enjoy the breath and the feeling as much as you can. Extend the arm up, bring the arm down, and again, let both arms have a little bit of forward and back movement. So obviously when we're running, we're going to have, to some extent, this work in the rib cage. Yeah, so we're going to have some sensation around that, but that's probably not where you feel that much when you're running. But it is an important area to free up, that area for the diaphragm to release. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to kind of open a little bit more through the chest. So what we'll do is we'll start with one hand on the heart center and then the other hand on top. And then from there, we'll take an in-breath and we'll open out. We'll look up a little bit more. So palms are out facing me. And then we'll bring the hands back in and maybe just bring the chin to the chest and relax the shoulders. So breathing in with the opening. Breathing out with the returning back to center. So don't go at my pace, go with your breath. You can close your eyes if you like for a few more breaths. One more. Okay, and relax a little bit of a shake out of the arms and the fingers and the wrists. Okay, so I am going to come to standing now. So if you're not in standing, find your way up to standing. And we're going to come into a few flow movements now. So I'll show you if you like, so you just get a quick overview of the whole flow, and then we can do that together. So I'm going to be starting at the front of my mat. I'm going to be raising my arms. So my arms come back. I'm going to step back. Now you might want your foot down, heel of the back foot down for a moment to just kind of get your stability with. Once you've found that the best you can, then you come onto your toes so your hips are coming forward. Yeah, so we've done this lots of times. We'll take the arms up and then we'll push the palms back behind us and look up. So it's a little bit more of a opening up of the front body here. We'll go from this. Sorry, I'm going to step forward the opposite foot, so I just might need to just sort myself out here. So we're going to come into warrior from there. So my back foot, which you won't be able to see very clearly, is now come down. The heels come down. Okay, so we're going to spend a little bit of time here, go up and down here. We'll come into side angle and we'll kind of flow a little bit with that. And then we'll come back at some point here. Then we'll come back at some point to come back onto our toes and we'll step forward. Yeah, so that's broadly what we're doing. Obviously at slightly slower pace, and we're obviously doing that on both sides. So sweeping the arms up, stepping back. So you can, as I say, you can get the back heel down just to stabilize yourself, but then come on to the toes of the back leg. Front leg is bent, knee just sits above the ankle. So this front leg is strong. So, well, both legs are, but the front leg is going to give you perhaps a little bit more support and security. Once you're stable, then you raise the arms up and you lengthen. So you feel the rib cage rising a little bit here. Bring the belly in to support the lower back. Let the arms sweep back so the palms go behind you. Open up, look more through the chest to look up. Okay, so breathing in and raising the arms. Breathing out and sweeping the arms behind you. So your timing in to extend up, out, push the hands behind you and open through the chest. One more. Okay, so from here, back foot down. Yeah, so heel. So back hip opens up a little bit more. So, but you've still got a sense of internal rotation. And the front knee stays in exactly the same position. So front leg hasn't changed, it's just the back heels come down. From here, we open up into warrior. We can bring the arms down and open up a few times. Just get a flow there. And then we can breathe in, take the arms up. Breathe out, bring them back to shoulder level, looking over the front. And breathing in, look forward. Breathing out, looking over that front hand. Legs strong, belly in to get a little bit of core support. Okay. And from warrior, we're going to side angle. So we're going to bring the forearm down and we're just going to wheel this top arm a few times. As long as that feels okay for the shoulder. And then at some point, we leave it in that position where we've got a line from the back heel, up the leg, up the side body, and extend the arm through. We can look up to the armpit. We can lengthen a bit more. We can maybe sit a little bit more down. So you don't give your weight to this arm, but all the energy is going through that top arm and that top side body. And you breathe here into this area, freeing up space, using the diaphragm, working it to strengthen it. Okay, and then use the arm to get back into warrior. From there, use your back arm, bring it to the front so you can pivot round, so you're onto the toes of the back foot. You can use your arm swing to bring you back to base, hands together at the chest, swing out. Okay. So, second side, extend up, arms go back, foot goes back, and you might need to get the back heel down, but once you feel okay, you go onto the toes of the back foot, front knee broadly above the ankle. Extend the arms up, bringing the belly in. Sweeping the arms back, palms behind you. Chest right raises and you look up. Breathing in as you take the arms up. Next to rib cage, breathing out. Looking up. So finding your own rhythm. So we can stabilize more if we use the diaphragm. Yeah, so hopefully balance is okay. I'm going to fall over and I've said that, aren't I? So one more breath in and breath out. And then get that back heel down. Sweep the arms up into warrior. And let them float down, float up a few times. So we're not over straining on the arms. Just find a way to arrive. And then we take a breath in, we extend up, look forward, come back to shoulder level, take a breath out, looking over that front hand. So there's different ways of working with the breath, but there's a lot of ways that can be kind of quite calming while still getting a deep, fairly deep breath. So you don't have to over breathe when I say a deep breath. It just means deep in the body. Tends to be a little bit slower. I'm suggesting you breathe through the nose if you can. So last one. Okay, and from here we go into side angle, remember? So pivot. And you bend the elbow, lower arms on the leg, and do some wheelie one way or the other way. That way is probably a little bit more sense for position we're going to end up in. And top arm over, lengthening from that back heel, not collapsing. There's still length through this underside of the body. Breathing into this side, maybe looking at towards the armpit. Keep lengthening. Keep that back heel really connected to the earth, the ground, the mat. Use this top arm to get you back into warrior now. Great. So all we need to do is just get back to the front of the mat. So we're going to use the back arm to come forward to help remind ourselves to come onto the toes of that back foot. Then we can let the arms swing. So we can step forward and we can find just the hands together, just to steady ourselves there. Okay, so I'm just going to come to this side of my mat. So we're going to work our way down to all fours. So initially, just sweeping the arms up and bending the knees as you take the arms behind you. So sometimes we do this quite quick, and we will later in the series because it's a great release for the diaphragm. But for now, we'll just do a few of these sort of skiing movements without getting anywhere. As we lengthen, and then we come down. So next time we come down, we're going to forward fold and take the hands to the floor, fingertips to the floor. So breathe in here for a moment as we just fold forward, fingertips on the floor or palms of the hands. Let the back of the neck be long, let the head be heavy. So it's harder to breathe here, but I'm sure you'll do your best. Okay, so from here, we're going to creep the fingers, hands forward, bend the knees until we come down onto all fours, hopefully reasonably comfortably. Okay, I'm going to come a little bit closer towards you, I think now. And mini adjustment. Okay, so from here, we're on all fours now. You can have your toes tucked or you can have your toes untucked. There isn't a right way. And we're going to do that movement where I describe it as if you're trying to move a hoop, like a hula hoop, around the center of your body. So we're thinking the base of the rib cage and the diaphragm area. So from here, we kind of do this circular movement, which feels a little bit weird, as if we're chasing the hoop all the way around the outside of the base of the rib cage. Not sure you can see any differently from the front. Yeah, probably not that clear from the front, to be honest. So sticking with this, and we'll all kind of find one way to go. I want you to now try the other way and be noticing kind of where it feels easy to move and where you feel like you're not sure where you're going or it feels a bit numb or a bit sticky. We want to try and free up all that space on that circuit. So we want to try and not miss any space out. And it's difficult. And one side for me feels kind of like very present, and the other side feels less kind of what's going on there. I'm not sure. I've got a brain to muscle connection there. Okay, and then pause. Okay, so from here we haven't done a twist really. So we'll just do a thread of the needle, and we'll do the version where we have the hand on the floor, palm faces up, and then we thread through and come onto the side of our head and maybe onto our shoulder, but maybe not. We're going from this position to the open position where we take the hand to the sky. So we can do this with the breath as usual if you want to. So as we sweep the arm up, we breathe in, opening the chest. And as we come down, we breathe out. So you might need to go a little bit quicker to cope with the breath. One more. And then come to all fours. Take a breath in and a breath out in your neutral. And then swap sides. So thread the hand arm through. Take the arm up, just to get the sense of what it's like for the body, that you're not overstraining. And then you can start using the breath more specifically. Breathing in to let it stretch up, breathing out. Okay, so the last one. Back onto all fours. So the body for the diaphragm in the center release likes to have twists, and it likes to have side bends work going on here. So we'll just do cat-cow to kind of balance ourselves out a little bit. So we're working the spine a little bit more thoroughly as well. So finding your own way through the cat-cow sequence, you all know it really well. Rounding and arching. And just see if you can really feel what happens with the front of the rib cage as you come into the cow, and the back of the rib cage as you come into cat. So there's this sort of tipping and releasing. And that will change what's going on with the diaphragm at the back and the front of the body. But using the breath, maybe cat tends to be out breath. Cow tends to be in breath. Okay, and coming back to neutral. So I want my feet at the top of the back end of the mat. I'm going to take my hands forward, bum goes back a bit, head just hovers above the ground, bum goes back, sitting bones back as much as I can. So really lengthen now through the side body, through the back body. Keep the back of the neck long so the head's almost touching the ground. And breathe there. And then take both hands over to the right. I'm going over to the right. I'm going to stack my left hand on top of my right hand. I'm going to keep the head just slightly off the ground again. I'm going to breathe into my left side. And I feel like I'm lengthening through the left hip away, left crease of the hip flexor if I can. Gently come back to the center for a moment. And then go to your left, sacking the hands if you wish to. Breathing slowly deep into the diaphragm if you can. And then gently back to center. And lengthen again. So we're going to go from this position into cobra and back again. So coming forward, shoulders come above the wrists, elbows bend, pelvis comes down, shoulders go back. Crack. Okay, chest forward, belly in, and then push back. If you need the hands slightly wider, I feel like I might need my hands a little bit wider there. Then just do the adjustment. Bum back, lengthening through the spine, head just hovering off the ground, and come forward again, shoulders over wrists. Bend the elbows, pelvis comes down, shoulders go back and down. Breathe in, push up, push back. Breathe out. Come forward, come down. So just following that sequence with the breath, breathing in, coming back. Forward. And so now we're in this back position just for a moment. Bring the forearms down. If you can take your bum back, do. If not, keep your bum up. Put more into child's pose. And this time the head can rest on the ground and the rib cage is resting on the thighs, maybe. Yeah, don't worry if you're not down. If your bum's still in the air, that's fine. Trying to find a bit more relaxation here. The back here is rounded rather than working. And you might feel the base of your rib cage on your thighs. Okay. So push with your hands, come up onto all fours and find your way onto into sitting. So if you need a block, find a block, sit on, and you can sit either with crossed legs like this, or you can sit on your heels, which most people can do, but as soon as you become a runner, that just doesn't seem to be very possible for very long. It tends to be too quaddy. So we will be doing some of that, I think, later, but we'll see. Anyway, for now, for this week, we will be sitting in whatever is comfortable for you. And sometimes it takes a little bit of work to get into that. So we're going to do a similar movement to one of the ones that we were doing when we're standing. So we're bringing the hands together, but then we could take it more as a cross, crossing the arms so that it's more like a hug. It's more like the hands are holding the sides of the rib cage. From there, you can take the chin down and round the back. And then we're going to open out. So we're going to open the arms out, open the chest, look up. And then as we breathe out, we come back to that kind of hug, chin in, rounded back. And then we open up on the in-breath. So again, just moving between these two. A couple more. Really relaxing the shoulders when you bring the hug in stage of the out breath. So ending on opening the arms out. And then relaxing the hands. And just taking a few breaths in neutral, relax the shoulders, the jaw. Sit up as best you can, but don't, if you overdo that, when it's difficult, you just can't breathe. So let the breath be more important than the over trying the sitting up. Maybe feel the sides of the diaphragm for a moment. Okay, folks. Happy breathing, happy diaphragm breathing, happy strong diaphragm, relaxed diaphragm. So just a brief note that in future classes we are likely to need something to support us in that cobra position, or even upward facing dog. So you can have a cushion. This could be a cushion. It's one of these muscle release balls that most of you have seen me use or have used in other classes. So it will be something like here, yeah. So looking at going from here to here, and you can have a cushion, yeah, that's got a little bit of support, but also a little bit of softness to it. Could be a pillow or two. And the other thing is a weight. This is a yoga sandbag, and what we'll be doing with that. So you could just have a blanket with something heavier in, rice or something, or just a blanket. So this is about, I think this is about £5, but I need to check that out. But that just sits on the diaphragm, and some people love it and some people find it difficult having that weight restricting, but again, it's strengthening the diaphragm and also releasing it. So it's for me, it's kind of a lovely thing to do. But to say you need to find the right weight that gives you that kind of sense of solidity and center and support and release to the ground. Just have your hands on that area as well. So I don't want you to buy equipment, but I just want you to know that we might be using that later on. Okay, thank you for coming, and I'll see you for week 2. More diaphragm stuff. Have a great week.